Okay, day one of being furloughed, guys. So I just got an email saying that I've been placed on furlough status. However, during this period, I may be contacted at any time and instructed to perform specific expected work. So I'm not getting paid. I can be on call, basically, and I can't go on a cruise because I was like, oh, maybe I'll go on a little vacation or some. Negative. I have to be available at all times with no pay, zero money, on call, but I'm furloughed.
Well, it's day 3 of Chuck Schumer's government shutdown, and the consequences are starting to hit hard. Let's look at the facts. According to the White House Council of Economic Advisors, every week the shutdown drags on costs America about $15 billion in GDP. A month-long shutdown would mean 43,000 more unemployed Americans. Families are in jeopardy. The WIC program, which supports nearly 7 million women and children, runs out of money this month. SNAP benefits could run dry up to next month for over 40 million Americans, including 16 million children. Veterans aren't spared career counseling, VA hotlines, GI Bill offices, even headstone placements and burial applications are being disrupted. Workers are also caught in the middle. Nearly 2 million federal employees face furloughs or working without pay. That includes Border Patrol, TSA, Coast Guard crews, firefighters, and FBI agents. And unlike federal workers, millions of federal contractors will never see back pay. Private businesses are being crushed too. Federal loans, export certifications, and mortgage applications are stalled. Small businesses are losing billions in delayed contracts. Here's the bottom line. Democrats chose this shutdown, and they're holding America hostage, and families, workers, and our economy. They're all paying the price.
The U.S. government is just passing blame from the Republicans to the Democrats. What is going on? Hey, beautiful people, welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you for stopping by. So all credit goes to the creators in these videos, guys. A government shutdown happens when the U.S. Congress cannot agree on a budget on funding bill. And without this agreement, the government has no authority to spend money. And as a result of this, many offices, programs, services will stop working or they are forced to slow down. And guys, it's not just a political issue here. It's a problem that touches millions of ordinary people across the country. Because when a shutdown like this happens, federal workers are told to stay at home. Some are working without, many are working without pay. And this is so stressful, especially for those people that rely on salaries to pay food, to pay rent, which is majority of the populace. And many small businesses that also depend on government contracts will suffer. And guys, don't forget about travelers. If you are traveling this period, have your seat belt on tight because it's gonna be a long wait at the airport. So this shutdown affects and also hurts people because citizens expect their leaders to be able to protect the nation, and instead what are they doing? Passing the blame from one party to the other, not being able to take responsibility. And when that happens, guys, this shutdown just shows how divided the US politics has become. I mean, it has always been divided, but guys, this shutdown, I believe it should be an eye-opener for MAGA, because if the Epstein's, release the Epstein file thing did not break them, and this is not breaking them, then those people must really have a strong mind, because what else is gonna break them, guys? I see this shutdown being less about money and more about leadership and responsibility. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let's see what these creators have to say, and I'll see you soon.
A reporter just asked Caroline Levitt, hey, why do we have to lay people off during the government shutdown when we've never had to do this before? And like clockwork, Caroline immediately starts lying.
Caroline, 2 questions on the shutdown. You've argued that these impending layoffs are necessary to keep essential services up and running, but that has never been the case in any previous shutdown. Even when the government was shut down for 35 days in Trump's first term, you've never had to lay off thousands of workers to keep essential services up and running. So why are layoffs now necessary in this shutdown?
Because we have an administration and we have a president who are wholeheartedly focused on restoring fiscal sanity to our government and doing the right thing by the American taxpayer. We are $37 trillion in debt, and the federal government is currently shut down. There is no more money coming into the federal government's coffers. And as you've also seen since the beginning, in January, this administration is focusing on waste, fraud, and abuse. And so Democrats have given this administration an unenviable choice to have to take a look at the balance sheet and identify where these cuts and layoffs can be made.
And you just said this is an unenviable choice, that this is an unfortunate consequence. But the president has described this as an unprecedented opportunity to lay off additional workers. He's posted a video likening Rust Vote to the Grim Reaper. So which is this? Is this an opportunity to fire more workers or an unfortunate consequence?
Look, the president likes to have a little fun every now and then, and I think both things can be true at the same time. The Democrats have given the administration this opportunity, and we don't like laying people off. Nobody takes joy in that around here, and if you think that, then I think that's very sad. You view the White House and our staff as wanting to put people out of work. Nobody wants to do that, but sometimes in government you have to make tough decisions.
You see, ladies and gentlemen, Caroline Leavitt, she knows that what she's saying is all a bunch of BS, and the American people don't buy it. What they're trying to do is to get away with as much of their little crimes as they've been getting away with without anyone looking at them. How on earth are they going to only lay off only Democrats unless they actually go through and interview each employee and say, hey, are you a Democrat or are you a Republican? Did you vote for Trump? And then go check their voting records. Caroline should have simply said, listen up. We are going to go after anybody who's been asking and demanding that we release those Epstein files, because that's the only thing that makes sense at this point. All right. You don't eliminate positions during a government shutdown in order to become more fiscally responsible, especially since we know every time you've done this in the past, you've had to go back and rehire some of these people. So all I see is just Caroline once again showing how un-American she is, how un-Christ-like she is, and how much of a Christian she isn't. Ladies and gentlemen, please do not continue to allow Donald Trump to get away with these lies and continue to harm innocent American lives. He shouldn't be allowed as president of the United States to take innocent Americans and use them as part of his ridiculous hostage negotiation. And by the way, these lies about undocumented people collecting Medicaid, Medicare benefits, no one buys it. MAGA, are you winning still?
Trust me, many of them are still standing on business and they are convinced that they are winning. This shutdown has become a battle between Democrats and Republicans because each party blames the other for this crisis. Democrats are saying that the Republicans are refusing to compromise on issues like spending levels, social programs, and certain policies. And they are saying that the Republican approach is too strict and is harmful to ordinary Americans. And the Republicans, oh my goodness, the Republicans on the other hand are claiming that Democrats are blocking progress, they are pushing their own priorities. They say that the Democrats care more about politics than solving real problems. And this is just a back and forth game. And it makes it so difficult to find a common ground, guys. Because instead of working together, the two parties are finding and spending so much time arguing on TV, on social media, and they are trying to win public support by pointing fingers at each other. Guys, this does not bring solution. Okay, it's just like I don't even understand anymore, because the question they're supposed to be saying is that, okay, how can we come to the center and agree on a common ground? Because people are waiting. There are families that depend on government programs, workers that are ready to be paid, they are willing to be paid, they want to be paid for their job, and they don't care which party is to be blamed, right? The thing they want is for them to have food on their table by the time it's time for them to get their next paycheck. They care about survival, they care about stability. And instead of, the leaders that you so trust to bring solution to your problem, instead of them to find the solution, they went for a shutdown. And guys, these leaders will be paid and you will not be paid. Okay, so this shutdown, I really don't get it anymore, because the last one lasted for about 35 days thereabouts. Who knows how long this one is going to last? Anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let's see what these other creators
Why
have
would
to
we
say.
have to lay off federal workers if we getting all this money from tariffs? Huh? Shutdown? Stop sign? What happened to all that money from the tariffs? Remember? The billions and billions we was bringing in. It might have been a T. It might have been a capital T. A trillion. What happened to all that money? What happened to the money from the waste, fraud, and abuse? You know? The doggy. The Doge and them. Huh? Can you please tell me why we stopping the payment of federal workers? Huh? Stop sign. Ain't we the hottest country in the world right now? Ain't manufacturers bringing manufacturing to the United States? I thought we were swimming in the dough. What happened to all that money? What's going on? What about the billions?
Just a quick reminder that the government could open anytime the Republicans want. All they have to do is call some Democrats in the Senate and agree to pull back the cuts they made to the ACA healthcare tax credits. That's all they have to do, is just agree with the Democrats that they will get rid of that and give us back those tax credits that made health insurance affordable for us. That's basically all they have to do, and they would get enough Democrats on board to open the government back up. Why don't they want to do that? Why would they rather give tax cuts to billionaires and all their special interest wealthy buddies instead of letting us have a little bit of relief on the cost of our healthcare? It's almost like they don't care about any of us and our healthcare needs or our budget needs, our way of life. They don't care about that at all. All they care about is their wealthy buddies, the health insurance companies that are lobbying them. That's what this is about. So they're going to continue to keep this government closed just because they don't want us to have that tiny crumb. Cool.
Donald Trump thinks that you were an idiot. J.D. Vance thinks that you were an idiot. Congressional Republicans all collectively think that you are an idiot, because all of these groups, J.D. Vance, Donald Trump, the Congressional Republicans, all of these people are lying to you about why this shutdown happened, why the Democrats refused to sign on to the CR, and they all think that you were too stupid to look into it yourself and realize that they are lying. What they are trying to tell you is that congressional Democrats are trying to get health care funding for undocumented immigrants through Medicare, Medicaid, and the ACA. Congressional Democrats are not doing this. You can look this up for yourself. You can look at what they are saying as why they did not sign on to the CR and why this shutdown happened. You can look into it yourself and learn that the reason that the Congressional Democrats refused to sign on to the CR is because Congressional Democrats want the Republicans to extend an ACA provision that keeps healthcare premiums low. They are trying to keep your healthcare coverage from ballooning in cost. And this is not just going to affect people who are on ACA, on Medicare, on Medicaid. It is going to affect everyone across the board. That is why Congressional Democrats did not sign on to the CR. Because Republicans are refusing to budge on this issue, and they are going to make your healthcare costs increase. That is what Congressional Republicans want to happen. And because Congressional Republicans cannot tell you, hey, we are trying to make your healthcare more expensive, because that is going to make things cost more for people, they have to lie to you, because Congressional Republicans and Donald Trump and the Republicans in charge think that you are too stupid to go look at the actual reasons and what is actually happening. They don't want to extend these ACA provisions that are keeping healthcare costs low, that are keeping healthcare premiums low. It is estimated that if these provisions are not extended, over 1 million people can lose access to health insurance. The Democrats are trying to fight to keep those people insured. Republicans want them off of insurance. And these are not people who are freeloading, that are just using the system to do nothing. These are Americans who are working, but through no fault of their own have some kind of disability or another reason that they need assistance with their health insurance coverage. It could be that their job doesn't offer it. It could be that they're temporarily disabled. It could be that they've temporarily lost their job due to injury. There's a bunch of reasons why people go onto government health insurance through the ACA, through Medicare, Medicaid, or whatever the local state program is. These are not people who are freeloading the system. These are Americans who, through no fault of their own, are on government-run insurance or government-assisted insurance. And the Republicans want to kick these people off because they want to funnel more money to the billionaires. They want to funnel more money to the people at the top who make a bunch of money. Because they believe that you are an idiot, they are lying to you about why it is. The Republicans are responsible for the shutdown, and all they have to do to end the shutdown is agree to extend these provisions that help people stay on insurance and help keep costs low. But they don't want to do that because they don't care about you, and they think you're too idiotic to realize how little they actually care about.
I think many of them that voted for Trump are realizing now that they do not care about them, right? But the pride in them will not allow them to come out and say, oh, we realize that these people care only about themselves. Because the real cost of this shutdown just grows heavier and heavier. Because looking at it, the first victims are those federal workers who will lose their pay or who will lose their jobs during this shutdown. And these workers they have to find their ways around to cover bills, to borrow money, and all of that. And families that depend on food assistance or healthcare programs will face delays. It will be stressful. And the longer this shutdown lasts, guys, the more damage it will spread across the communities. Ripple effect, it goes on and on. And instead of the same leaders to say, oh, okay, we are finding a solution to this problem, they are just playing blame games on each other. The Republicans are saying the Democrats are at fault. The Democrats are saying the Republicans are at fault. And it just goes on and on and on. So the question is that what's the solution? Because this is not about who is guilty. How can this be fixed so that the economy keeps moving forward? Anyways, guys, whatever happens, guys, just know that the nation, the citizens will continue to pay the price for this blame and for this division. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you have found value in this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in my next video. Please stay safe. Mental health is important. Ciao.